Greetings, mortals, and welcome. Please present your tickets for validation. Thank you. Your existence has been acknowledged, and you have been granted access every Thursday and Friday. You will be accompanying your guides, Krista and Brandy, along with a world-renowned guest. They will be exploring an intriguing tendril of what humans refer to as reality each week, as they strive to advance you further down the path to the truths of your physical earth and what lies on the other side. Remember to please keep your hands and feet in the vehicle at all times, and do not exit until the craft has come to a complete stop.
Hey everybody, welcome. I am not by myself. My partner tonight is having internet issues, so I got her on the phone. So Brandy, you want to say hey?
Hey everybody, I can't chat with you right now or see you or anything, but hey, happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. She's here. And we excited about tonight's show. We have our friend Greg Ogles from Relic Films. And it's just going to be fun. It's going to be a good night. And I want to say hello and thank you to everybody who is in chat. And honestly, we truly appreciate each and every one of you being here tonight. So anyway, I got a few things to talk about here real quick. So October 26th is our event at the Ray County Museum. We're going to be there with Paranormal Paul's coming. After Dark Paranormal is going to be there. We're going to feed you dinner. We're going to do a Paranormal 101. We're going to do a Cryptid 101. And as I said, we're going to feed you, and we're going to do the overnight ghost hunt. So tickets are on sale now on Eventbrite. And if you just want to come for the 101s, it's just $15. It's cheap. And then if you want to do the whole thing, it's $65, which is still cheap. So anyway, come and see us with that. Next thing to talk about is this here. So it is on Friday, September 13th. We have a ghost hunt at the Haunted Castle House in Brumley, Missouri. We actually had one ticket left. So I spoke with Paranormal Paul, and we decided to give that ticket away. So all you have to do is share Blondes and Booze channel and Paranormal Among Us, and tag one of us in it, and you're in the drawing. And I think the drawing, let's see, I'm not exactly sure when he's going to do the drawing, but we will be doing the drawing. So if you're in the area and you want to go to Brumley, Missouri, to the Haunted Castle House with Brandy, myself, Paranormal Paul, and there's a couple other people, all you got to do is share us out and tag at least me or Paul one in it. And that's it. It's that simple. So I'm not going to waste any time. See if Greg looks ready. Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am wonderful.
Hello, Greg.
Hey, Brandy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm struggling with the internet, but here we are.
Yes.
Well, that's such as it is with technology.
Yes, it is. It sure is. It's one of those things. She literally lives in the middle of cornfields.
Yeah, they're pretty tall right now. It's almost harvest season.
Yeah. So and maybe that's the internet problem.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they're just too tall and they're blocking the signal.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's the corn. We blame the corn.
It's the corn.
Well, Greg, thank you so much for coming on tonight. We always enjoy having you on, and we've known you for a little while now, and you've turned out to be a good friend of ours, and you're a great researcher, and your films are amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Flattery will get you everywhere.
Well, I speak the truth.
Yeah. I was very, very pleasantly surprised with the Downy Booger and how it's been received, and
thank you, War.
just extremely extremely surprised and
Yeah.
humbled. You know,
Right.
uh, but the Downy Booger was a labor of
Mhm.
love, and we did it just because we love doing it and love the
Right.
field.
Right.
And the same thing started out with this one. Um,
Mhm.
However, we know a little bit more about filmmaking this time, and we had made a lot more contacts, and we had access to some more areas. And oh my gosh, this one is
Mhm.
phenomenal.
Yes.
It is fantastic. It's uh, we're probably we're probably 15 minutes in roughly into
Wow.
the rough edit, and we look at it along the way,
Hmm.
and it oh my gosh, it starts off like a movie, instead
Yeah.
of just a documentary. It starts off like almost like a horror movie, but it's intense. It has action all the way through. It's got a lot of information in it. It's got a lot of researchers in it, a whole bunch of researchers. And it's got some of the best footage I have ever seen.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Ever.
Well, I know, unfortunately, when you got that really, really good footage, I was wore out and tired. And
Hmm.
I went to bed, and
Hmm.
y'all went out to the woods. And I know I had spoke. Thank you, Tito. Um, I had talked to you guys the next day, and you guys were still like in awe of
Hmm.
what happened that previous
Hmm.
night. It was
Because I'll tell you what, we've encountered a whole bunch of weird things,
yeah.
but as much as I have encountered,
Hmm.
we still hadn't seen it like with our eyes. We captured things on camera,
Yeah.
and we've seen things on thermal imaging, but we
Yep.
haven't seen it with our eyes.
Yeah.
But this changed all of that.
Right. Right.
We had a paradigm shift. You know,
Hmm.
we went from being a believer to a knower, and that's a pretty big jump.
Yeah.
And you know, some people are some people. Everybody reacts differently. And when those growls started to come out, um, Brent was going through the same paradigm shift, and it seemed as if this thing was going to attack us, right? So I could understand Brent's reaction when you see it
Yeah.
in the film. I mean, it is true terror.
Do you know he told me so that next morning after that happened, he had told me you, Brent, and myself, we had a little meeting, the three of us. Do you remember
Hmm.
that before the
Hmm.
film?
Yeah.
And I was kind of telling you guys things that happened. And he had told me that next morning he said, I kind of rolled my eyes and kind of, yeah, right, one of those type things. But
Hmm.
he's like, I'm a believer now.
Yeah. Well, he's really more than a believer. He's a knower. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
because um, and I was lucky enough, or fortunate or unfortunate, or whatever, to be able to get a good glimpse at it.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was forever looking at it, but I guess in all reality, it was probably maybe 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But you know how time seems to slow down
Hmm.
when you're in these situations that that just makes your mind just like
Yeah.
it seemed like everything was in slow motion, you know.
Yeah.
But I even froze. I was kind of dumbfuzzled about what I
Yeah.
was looking at. So I
Well,
mean, I really understand his reaction. But I mean, really, to his credit, he went from being that terrified
mhm.
to calming down and getting past it. Getting past it enough to start his job, to start filming.
Yeah.
I really get that.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are, when you're that terrified, to get over it that quickly and to continue start doing your job.
Yeah.
It that takes something. So anyway, it was an intense, very much an intense encounter.
Yeah.
And I've never seen a sequence like that before, and we were fortunate enough to be able to film that.
Right.
But however, it's not the only footage we have of them.
That's right.
It's
right.
not the only footage. We've got some great footage all the way through. All the way through. So I'm so excited about this film coming out.
Yeah.
I keep hyping this sequence that's there, but however, I don't want to take away from the other footage that we have, because we've got some, really
Can you give
good.
us just a little bit of what it might be?
Yeah,
Little teaser.
you'll be able to see some glowing eyes.
Mhm.
You'll be able to see a thermal image of a Bigfoot that
Mhm.
is kind of hiding in the bushes and kind of moves away. Um, there's some other things in there that I'm not going to put too much out there,
Yeah.
but it's full of action and full of evidence.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's I know that weekend was an extended weekend, a little bit longer of a weekend, and things happened all week. It was just a good time, and
it was, and I actually went back out to the Land Between the Lakes a
Mhm.
couple of weeks later.
Yep.
Did some more filming,
Mhm.
and there wasn't a whole lot of good stuff, but there was some good stuff that we caught then too. But it wasn't as dramatic as the time before. Anyway, long story short, all of that footage from the second weekend was corrupted.
See, that's weird. Not
It's
really,
weird.
though. I got to tell you, though. So we were at the alleged kill site, and this has been well over a year ago. And actually, Michelle, that's in chat, she was there. She was running an EVP. She had an EVP recorder. I had War Criminals EVP recorder, and we were just doing our thing. And then the next day, went to listen to it, and his everything that I had recorded that night was gone, and also Michelle couldn't get hers to come on either. So that's kind of maybe something that might be a little common out there, with all your stuff got corrupted. That happened to us,
And that's we went exactly to that same spot, the kill site, and that's
Mhm.
a lot of that's corrupted, and a lot of the campsite where we're at, we did some interviews there.
Yeah. Well,
And,
Michelle, she just says always had problems with that at the LBL.
mhm,
So yeah.
yeah. Well, that's very common
Mhm.
when when we went through the Downy Booger.
Mhm.
There was lots and lots and lots of experiences that we thought we had on camera that we weren't able to catch because of either batteries draining, just all sorts of technical problems.
Yeah.
Like we thought we had them on film, and then the files are corrupted, and
Right.
it's just one issue after another.
Yeah.
So it's very common, and it's disappointing that that at the kill site uh, we had some issues, but it's not unexpected.
Yeah. Yeah. And it, just that whole, even like walking down to it, that first area there, there's some weirdness there, because I know one of the nights we were with you and we witnessed some things,
Right. And there was, I want to talk about one of the things that I experienced, and I didn't get this on film,
Okay.
and I really wished I would have been able to. That first night we were there at the kill site, we were seeing orbs, right?
Mhm.
And I saw like a yellowish light that was kind of out in the woods, and
Mhm.
I was like, and it was a little bit different from the orbs that I'd been seeing. So I was going like, I'm like, what is that? So I started, and of course, there's lots. You're looking into the woods. So I started to kind of move around so I could get a better vantage point, and I finally saw the source of that light, and it was like for me, it was like looking into the sun. It was that bright, and it was a box with like 90-degree angles on it,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw the upper half of it.
I remember I was
And
standing by you.
yeah, and I was in awe at that, and I
Mhm.
couldn't process what I was looking at the time.
Right.
But later on, it sort of dawned on me that I was looking into another world somewhere, because it wasn't where we were at. Wherever
Right.
I was looking in was daylight.
Right.
It could have been the freaking sun for all I know.
Yeah.
I don't know where it was at, but
Yeah.
it wasn't here. That much I know. And then it just whoop, vanished. And then a couple of minutes after it vanished, here comes an orb right up from where it was.
Yeah.
So and there was lots of flashlights that was panning around that night, if you
Mhm.
remember. And every time a flashlight would pan down, or you get a big reflection
Mhm.
of some of the
It would go away.
gravestones, then the orbs would disappear.
They would. Because
Mhm.
you even said a couple times, put your flashlight up. Don't use your flashlights, because just to make it clear for everybody. So there was also where the area we were at, it was also a haunted location. So a lot of them were over there, kind of doing more stuff on the ghost side of things. And I think it was you and Adam and myself that started out over there where we were.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that you'll be happy to hear that we went back to that location
Awesome.
a few days later,
Mm-hmm.
and we were able to capture in color now, with our color full spectrum camera. We were able to capture the orbs,
Fantastic.
Oh,
the
wow.
long standing orbs.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to see them in color, just as we see them when we're there.
Yeah.
So that I thought was fantastic.
I do too. Because
Mhm.
That is
it was
really
pretty,
cool.
that was Brandy, you were there that night too. There was a lot of weirdness, and
There was.
so
There
let
was.
everybody know the area we were looking at. There's no houses back there. There's no trails. There's no nothing back there. It is just woods.
Right.
That's it. So there's no highway back there for headlights. Nothing. So
Right.
and what was pretty cool is we were all experiencing it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And these long-standing orbs that we actually caught, I mean, they lasted. It was a long experience.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, it was so long, and we decided to leave because
Yeah.
we were just cold.
We
It
did.
was cold.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was cold. So we had plenty of footage of it, and it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Paranormal Paul asks, when Greg gets closer to the release date of his film, are we going to get a second trailer?
You absolutely are.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
Toward the end of October, maybe the start of November, we're going to release a second trailer,
Very
and it'll be more comprehensive than the first one, but it'll show some tidbits more of what is in the film.
That's awesome.
We can't give away too much. You're
Right.
just really going to have to go see it.
Right.
But yeah, we're going to get one more trailer before release date on January 4th.
Yeah. Real quick, let's go back to that night with the orbs.
Mhm.
What do you believe? Do you believe we were being surrounded by something? What do you believe that was?
I've experienced that quite often, and I've never had a negative experience with that.
Yeah.
I think they're curious, whatever it is, they're curious,
Mm-hmm.
and they were just coming up to check us out. And I do really think that certain people attract these things with their frequency or whatever it is about certain people. I really do think that they attract them.
Yeah.
So I think they're more curious than anything because
Mhm.
they're either intelligent themselves or up under intelligent control.
Yeah.
Um,
I would agree with you on that.
mhm. And on my second trip up to the LBL, we were seeing some of these same orbs. That none of them were long standing, but they were more quick than anything.
Yeah.
But however, me and this other gentleman got buzzed by an orb. I mean, it was within
Hmm.
2 feet from us. As a matter of fact, the other guy that was with us, his name's Johnny. He like just kind of like jumped back because it startled him. He's like,
Right.
"Holy crap! What was that?" You know, and they were sitting there
Right.
buzzing us.
Yeah.
And I got a really good look at it, and it was translucent
Hmm.
and about the size of this, smaller than a softball, but maybe about the size of a tennis ball. You know,
Hmm.
but it was translucent, and I mean, I just happened to be looking right where it appeared. It appeared and went zoop, right beside us, and then disappeared
Right.
again.
Right.
And I was like, and it was like y- almost like green, you know, almost a green color.
Wow.
But you could see right through the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the first time that we experienced orbs, we could hear like movement around us too.
Hmm.
The orbs was all we saw. And actually, Cryptidville and War Criminals in chat. And that night they were both there and we were all seeing these. It's just, it was just at different sizes, different colors. It was just
Hmm.
weird. And that was, at a different location out there at the LBO.
Hmm. Well, speaking of hearing footsteps, we was able to. I've had that too before. There was a situation where we were at North Georgia, and
Yeah.
I was wearing bionic ears, which is like headphones like this, except it amplifies the sound in the direction that you're looking.
Hmm.
Okay, and well, we saw an orb coming, and I could actually hear footsteps along with it, and I really thought that it was the forest ranger coming.
Hmm.
I kind of said, "Hey, forest ranger's coming," because he was supposed to come and check on us that night,
Right.
but he never did, and it turned out to be an orb. But what was so weird
Wow.
is that it was like as if somebody was walking,
Yeah.
with the bionic ears. So it was
Wow.
really strange, really, really strange.
Wow. That's interesting. Very
Hmm.
interesting. I just, crazy, crazy stuff.
Yeah, weird stuff. That's why I'm saying we've experienced a whole lot of weird things.
Hmm.
Some of the weird things that we experienced during the making of Booger,
Yeah.
was like disembodied voices, and we went back to some of the place where we experienced those disembodied voices, and lo and behold, we was able to catch one. You know,
Hmm.
yeah. So that's going to be in the film. That some of these
Yeah.
anomalous voices or sounds that you catch,
Yeah.
that you hear.
Right. Right. You got a couple questions here. Let me go to one of
Yeah,
them.
sure.
Let me find them. This one's kind of an inside joke, and I think you'll get it. War Criminal
Oh.
7 says, haha, don't forget to roll credits, Greg. LMAO. War.
Mm.
And then
Don't forget
Sheldon,
to thank us little people.
yeah. Sheldon says, has anyone seen an orb that wasn't round?
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
I haven't myself, but I have heard. While we were at the LBL, we had a special guest that was there, right?
Hmm.
Ron Moorhead.
Yep.
And he was talking about some of the orbs that he had seen, and he described some orbs that were kind of like rod-like,
Right.
kind of
Yes.
shoot through the woods.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing that I think that I've never heard at the LBL, and maybe others who are in chat that have, any of like the Sierra Sounds type, I would love to hear something like that.
Well, they're freaky. I can tell you that.
You've heard them?
Yes, I've
Wow.
heard like Bigfoot chatter.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, I absolutely have on more than one occasion. Um, and to me, it sounds like um, somebody that has a really deep voice. That's very, it's
Yeah.
kind of what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's clearly conversation back and forth because you can hear it from two different locations,
Yeah.
but you can't quite make out what they're saying. You know, it's kind of low, and you like try to listen and hear like what the heck, like somebody's talking, right? But it ultimately, I think it's in another language. You
Hmm.
know, it really sounds to me like it's in some of the native Indian languages.
Yeah.
What it sounds like to me.
Yeah. You know, that area with the orbs that we experienced that night, you know, I've told you this before. Brandy and I, we were doing EVPs mid-afternoon right there at that
Mhm.
cemetery. And
Yeah.
we got 2 EVPs of a door closing. And Martin Grove says that he thinks that it was a portal, you know, and with all of the orbs and things like that, you know, we saw out there. I just wonder if that area is just like a big portal or, you know?
You know, we had experienced that very same thing at the LBL. I don't know whether or not we got that on audio or
Hmm.
not. That's why I didn't really bring it up too much because I really don't like to talk too much about things that I've experienced that I didn't catch on film or
Right.
audio.
Makes you sad, don't it?
Yeah, I know, right? But
It does.
sometimes you walk away from the cameras, and sometimes and unfortunately, that's a lot of times when you experience things.
Yeah.
So there was this one time where we were there, and I kept hearing these metallic sounds, and I don't know. I can't just maybe they sounded like a door closing or something. It was kind of like a
Yeah.
metallic sound,
Yeah.
and I found that very strange, very
Hmm.
odd, and that's kind of the first time I'd experienced that there.
Yeah. It's just odd. So since your video was corrupted on
Mhm.
your second trip to the LBL, can you talk about any of the oddness or things that happened to you at that one?
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. So we had went back to the kill site.
Hmm.
And while we were there at the kill site, we were seeing lots of orbs and hearing lots and lots of footfalls around us. The footfalls were pretty close. I would say 40 feet,
Hmm.
you
Wow.
know? And there was at one point where we turned around back toward the cemetery
Hmm.
and somebody had turned on a flashlight. And right at the corner of the flashlight, I saw something kind of tall that kind of darted off.
Wow.
And it was at you know how you get a flashlight and it's got the very outer limits of the light. And it
Yeah.
was right there at that edge of the outer limits and then took off and it was really, really fast.
Yeah.
And then we still kept hearing something in the little grove of woods that's adjacent to
Hmm.
that cemetery part, and we kept shining the lights, and
Yeah.
eventually caught some eye shine in there, and there was these eyes that was looking back at us, and it wasn't whatever it was wasn't intimidated by us at all. I
Hmm.
mean, and at first I thought, okay, maybe it's a raccoon,
Yeah.
it was just a really big head or something. Um, but it wasn't on the ground.
Yeah.
Whatever it was about 8 foot up. So
Oh, wow.
it could it have been a raccoon? Maybe, but their eyes are about this close apart,
Right.
far apart.
Right.
Right.
When
Yeah.
these eyes are about this far apart.
Yeah. That wasn't a raccoon, Greg.
Yeah. So, um, I'm sorry.
No,
You
I
know,
said no.
yeah, yeah. So we watched it for quite a while,
Hmm.
and as a matter of fact, somebody that was with us kind of yelled out at said, "Hey, we're armed, don't be
Right.
coming, messing with us," and so on and so forth.
But it wasn't
But
intimidated by that, though, was it?
nah.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. However, what I saw at the LBL, I don't think that there's anything that we have that you could carry that would put what I saw down.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah.
This thing was in 9-foot range, give or take a few inches.
Yeah.
And just I don't know. It's very difficult to explain, looking at it. But I don't. It was so fast and so big. I don't think that.
Yeah.
I don't think a pistol would have taken it down. And then if you were lucky enough to take one down with the pistol, there was another one that was off to our left. As we're trying to push this thing back, every time we take a step forward, it starts growling, just this kind of growl huff thing. And it does it more than once. It does it like 12, 15 times, something like that. I mean, all in all, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So every time we try to, step forward, this thing starts to growl. And from my left, there was a rock thrown. And I kind of looked back at our security back there and said, "Hey, there's a rock. Something just threw a rock at us."
Yeah.
So there was another one there.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, like your security said that was the first time he pulled his weapon out there. So, and he's not one to, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a big boy, not easily intimidated.
Yeah. No, not at all.
So, but it didn't look, it looked very much classic Bigfoot from what I saw.
Bigfoot.
Very classic. Yeah. Very classic.
What do you think would be worse, a mad Bigfoot or just a dog man?
Bigfoot.
Do you?
Bigfoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a Bigfoot would take out a dog man any day.
So
especially big boy, a big boy especially a big boy like I saw. I mean, my God, it was huge.
Wow.
It was absolutely huge.
Yeah.
And how it moved that fast, I don't know.
Yeah. Is it okay to share with what Adam Davies said about going all around the world? And
yeah,
can you share that? What he said?
Yeah. Adam said he's been all around the world and has heard animals of all sorts, but he's never heard of anything like that.
Or had an experience like that.
Right. He's never had an experience like that. Never had an encounter like that.
Yeah.
He's been all around the world.
Yep.
And he's been looking for these things for a very, very long time. And when he went out with us, he had this fantastic experience.
Yeah.
Now, not only that did we have this Bigfoot experience, we had the orb experience, and that's an experience in itself. If you've ever seen these orbs, they are fantastic. To me, they're just fascinating to sit and look at.
Yeah, because he was with us that night with the orbs. He witnessed that too. Yeah,
so he saw them both times. As a matter of fact, when we got the good footage of him, he was with us.
Yeah.
And he makes this comment. He's like, "Oh my God, look, they're dancing."
Greg in his best Adam Davies accent.
Yeah. They're dancing.
Yeah. It was just pretty incredible. It really was. And there's just a lot of weirdness out there. And honestly, if you go out there during the day in the afternoon and in the summertime, it's families out there having a good time, and it's very deceiving.
It is.
Yes.
It's quite deceiving. As a matter of fact, when we first got out there, we were going around looking, and we're like, "There's nothing. I mean, there's nothing to this place. I mean, it's just a park,
Right.
And and we went out that first night when we had that encounter. We went out that first night, and honestly, we was in the car. We were like, "Okay, I really don't expect to see anything," because I didn't. I didn't expect to see anything.
That's right.
And I sure got fooled.
Yeah.
Certainly got fooled.
Yeah.
There is definitely stuff there.
And that's just what's so, I mean, it's so unpredictable. It's all, considered paranormal, if it's cryptid, ghost, aliens, it's not normal. So it's paranormal, right? So, and the paranormal is so unpredictable. You can go one time and it's crazy active and the next time nothing. Like, just different like haunted locations that Brandy and I go to, sometimes it's super crazy active and
well, that's another thing that takes so long to do some of these films. Like everything we do is real. There's nothing that's set up. We don't stage anything. And a lot of times when we go out and we're filming, that nothing happens, and it's just like crickets all night.
Right.
So it's not like you go out every night and you have all this magic stuff happen. That's simply not the case.
Right.
If we filmed and we made a film out of every time we went out, it would be like the most boring thing you've ever seen in your life, because it's a lot of nothing, a whole lot of nothing.
Right. Absolutely. Paranormal Paul says, I want to go to the LBL now.
Come on, Paul.
Yeah.
Well,
He has,
hop in
we
the car
actually,
when we're headed there.
yeah, we do have a trip planned and he is going. I'll tell you the dates backstage too, Greg, if you're interested.
Okay.
So, yeah, just a whole lot of weirdness. I am going to play the trailer.
Oh, fantastic.
So let me
I love this trailer.
let me get it set up. So hold on. Well, I can do that while you guys will just have to walk through. But
and we really only had about a week to put this trailer together.
you did a fantastic job. So
I'm
going to
good. It was good.
Brent put it.
Definitely.
Brent did a fantastic job.
Yes, Brent did. Hold on. Let me, I'm going to go ahead and play this. Let me present. Nope, wrong button. You think this is my first time. Just saying.
It's the wrong button.
Well, shoot. Why is it not letting me do this? Hold on.
Yeah, well, It's like, hold on a minute.
Weird. There it is. There's my button I need. Okay.
That's the spot.
There it is. All right. So hold on. Let's go here.
Can you make it bigger?
Greg, we gotta get out of here.
Hey, no. Okay.
We gotta get out of here.
I've looked for scientific evidence of unknown species all over the world.
The entire gambit of the paranormal world seems to culminate right here at the Land Between the Lakes.
There were two creatures standing beside the road, probably 50 or 60 feet. They went and killed all the neighboring farms' animals and brought the carcasses to our farm. They were all mutilated in the exact same manner.
If you have an area which is very high in Bigfoot or the cryptid field, you also have a much higher than normal activity level in both ET and the paranormal field within the same areas.
We would be absolute knuckleheads not to investigate this further. So it's been a real journey, digging into the mysteries and peeling back the onion layers of strangeness.
Immediately as we entered the Land Between the Lakes, we instantly knew the feeling changed. It was like the whole vibration of the place just changed.
This location has it all. And from Bigfoot sightings to dogman sightings, to orbs, to lights in the sky, you name it. People have seen so many things in this area, and I'm really interested to see how this correlates to the other things that we've experienced.
I'm not just going to dismiss it as nonsense. I want to research it and investigate and see if I can come to some conclusions.
Holy crap! Oh my God!
Go around a little bit.
It's here!
I've seen it and heard animals all over the world. I've never heard anything like this.
Holy crap!
Okay. Right there at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Whoa,
right before, huh?
I had to. It was playing again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right before Brent says, "What was that?" There was a kind of sound. I don't know if you could hear it or not.
Wow.
That's the actual Bigfoot growl.
Wow.
Yeah, we caught the growls on audio.
There's TV shows that do this for 15 years and don't capture what you guys did in one night.
Right. Yeah. We, like I said, we were fortunate.
Mhm. You were.
And, yeah, Barton put us right, Barton and our security put us right on the place where we needed to be. And, without that, well, we still had some good stuff, even without that.
Yeah.
But my gosh, that was the most exhilarating 20 minutes, 25 minutes that's ever going to be on camera.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, that just goes to show, like, that night was crazy. The next night we did a little ghosting. We had a little bit of stuff, but nothing major.
Right.
It's just, that's just how it is,
Mhm. Yeah. One of the nights that we went back to that same location, we thought that it was, just quiet
Mm-hmm.
and that there was nothing happening that night until we went back and started looking at some of the footage. And instead of the aggression or whatever that we had interpreted, they were just sitting back watching, and you can see their eyes. There's like 4 of them off in the distance, and they're not too far off in the distance. They were close enough to have filmed easily,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't approach us like they did that first time. And and in hindsight, I really wonder whether it was true aggression.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was, but maybe they were just there playing, testing us out or whatever. Because I mean,
I don't know. I just, the way you guys came back and described it, I think you're trying to downplay it, Greg. I mean, like, that.
I ain't gonna lie.
Aggression.
I was intimidated, but I didn't want to run. Because
Sure.
I mean, like, you're off in the middle of the woods. Where are you going to run to?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nowhere.
Yeah. Just outrun the guy behind you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trip the guy in front of you.
Yeah.
Trip the guy behind you.
Mm-hmm. Right. So War Criminal says that he had saw the eyes that night. So yeah, we caught him. We caught him on camera. We sure did. I really love the full spectrum cameras that we got. I even got a new one though. Not too long ago. I was hoping I would have had it for the LBL, but I didn't. It didn't come in time. But this second one's going. This new one's going to blow the other cameras that I got away.
Right.
Especially when it comes to filming at night. Oh
That's
my
awesome.
gosh, it is so fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have? Like, do you have future projects? I know this is, the LBL hasn't been out yet, but you have other things that you plan on going.
Absolutely. Film number 3, the filming on film number 3 starts in October, and it's going to be like October 19 weekend. And we're going to go to North Georgia,
Very
and
cool.
we're going to spend some time there, and then we're going out west.
Awesome. But all you're going to say is out west?
For right now.
Awesome.
When you go back to the LBL, what are you going to look for this next time? What are you hoping to see or hear?
Ideally, what I would like to do is try to replicate what we did the first time, to see if this is a habituation area, that if they actually live in this certain area. And what I really, really want to do is try to attempt some sort of contact.
Wow.
That's what I really want to do is try to attempt contact and communication So it might actually get a bit more, you know, dicey when I go back to the, when
Yeah,
I
I was going to say
return to the
up close and
LBL.
personal.
Yes, yes. So that's going to be the goal is communication.
Wow.
And
Are you
so,
planning on gifting or doing anything like that, or just communication?
I don't know about gifting. I've got mixed feelings about gifting.
I do.
Particularly when it comes to food. I don't want
Yeah.
to give them food.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to other little shiny things like marbles or something like that, then that's a different story. And I have done that in the past, and we've had some success with
Wow.
gifting of things that are not food. So I don't want to give them food. However, we'll see what happens when, and that might actually be a good lead into some communication. You go
Yeah.
out to a certain area, you can leave something around, and you just say, "Hey, this is a gift for you. I'm not here to hurt you," or whatever, and then you go and we have had them to leave us things in return. You know, things that you wouldn't think so much of a gift, like a dead animal or a twisted up branch or something. Something that means something to them, but we wouldn't necessarily think this is a wonderful gift. But it
Well,
might mean
like
something
they
to you.
did me at the
Uh-huh.
LBL. Do you remember that?
Yes, the dead cat.
Yes, and that was the night before we had mac and cheese, and I went out back behind the cabin and
That's
dumped
what
it.
I mean.
Yeah, and
That's what I mean.
that next day, there was a dead cat where the macaroni and cheese had been, and that was weird. I mean, and we don't see kitty cats roaming free. There's no wild cats around there, and this was a normal house cat. This wasn't a mountain lion or anything. It was just a normal house cat, and it was just that was odd. That was odd.
It was, and we've had very similar things happen too. So whenever we've had things like that happen, we've taken the gift with us. And, we might have disposed of it later somewhere, but we've
Right.
taken it with us. So,
Yeah.
so they wouldn't be offended or whatnot.
Yeah.
Because
So
you never can tell what they actually thought of that.
yeah, we just bought some property, and it's in a pretty good area in Missouri, and it's in the middle of nowhere. There's the only neighbor is my stepson, and it's got a trailer and stuff on there. We're going to fix that up, and it's our weekender, place to go for weekends. And I do plan on setting up a little gifting, not food, but doing, like you said, marbles or crystals or, things like that. And I'm going to put a camera on it and let a camera roll 24/7. And I'd like to honestly hook it up where people can just come in and it can be live streamed, all the time. You could see, you might see a raccoon or, whoever, whatever.
You never can tell what you might see.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of encounters in that area. And so why not,
Yeah. There's lots of things that we can do to sort of initiate research or communication with them, whether it be gifting or just going out and just sitting down, making yourself vulnerable.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make myself too vulnerable without some sort of protection, but
Right.
making yourself vulnerable so that they can see that you're subordinate to the big boys.
Yeah.
I did make and this is funny. Speaking of equipment malfunctions, during that segment, our cameras were fully charged. They're brand new cameras, fully charged, and we were lucky enough to get this segment in. But right when the segment was finished, our batteries were just completely drained, just boop, boop. And they should have been recording for hours. We should have had a lot of record time on them. So we were a bit disappointed because there was nothing else essentially we could do. All of our batteries were drained on the cameras. So I went out to the front of the truck with a flashlight to see if I could find any prints or anything, but with all the rock and stuff and gravel on the roadway, you couldn't find any prints. So I was like, self, I wonder if they're still around. So I went, just a loud growl and just a roar myself. And immediately I heard boom, boom, boom. It was these 3 stomps. I mean, it was immediately right after the growl. And, Brent was walking up to me. He's like, hey, did you hear that? I said, yeah, it stomped. He said, yeah, it responded to you. And I was like, I'm going to do it again. So I did it again. Went, real loud again. And it stomped again. Just boom, boom, boom. And it was right near the edge of the road. And Brent looked over and he said, you got to stop doing that shit. I was like, yeah, I agree with you, Brent. Because, it was literally just right there. And, and there was nothing we could do. We couldn't film, or I didn't have a weapon on me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to retreat to the back of the truck. So anyway, I'm going to kind of test some theories that I have on that to see if we can make contact in some way. That's what the return to the land between the lakes is going to be about.
That's awesome. So you just gave us a teaser that you are going to have another one on it.
There is going to be a return. Absolutely. But we're going to make another one in between.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Very cool. Very, very cool. We actually, and I'll tell you more about it backstage, but our friend Josh Hurd from Malvern Manor, he wants to go Bigfooting, and he's heard about the land between the lakes. I'm like, well, let's go. And so, yeah, we're going to take him.
Okay. Is he a newbie?
To Bigfooting. Now, he's part of, I don't know if you're any paranormal at all or not, but he's
not the same.
I was going to say him and Nick Groff, they do the G Crew and with Johnny Hauser and Chad Lindbergh. And so, he's well known in the paranormal world. He's very well known. He's done a lot of TV shows, the whole 9 yards. However, he's very new to Bigfooting. And he wants to go, so we have a date planned, and we're going. We're going to take him out there, and so be a good time.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I've always found that when you're out during the witching hour, that's when a lot of this weird stuff happens. I don't know why, but make sure you're out during the witching hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't go to bed at like 8:30.
Right. Well, I was giving him a hard time because he's got a friend. Last weekend I was up there, and a friend of his was there, and he has a hearse. The friend does, and we were talking about this trip, and he's like, "Man, I need to borrow your hearse so I can sleep in it. Maybe get some kind of." I'm like, "Hey, that's a great idea. Why don't you bring that hearse?"
Yeah, I don't know if I could sleep in a hearse or not. I want that to be my last ride.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just kind of, the things that, like I told him, like we've done, we've taken paranormal equipment out there and used it. Brandy and I've used REM pods and stuff that people use for ghosting, out there looking for Bigfoot and those kind of creatures. So yeah, it's all just kind of cool.
Yeah. I've seen ghosts. My place has got a ghost in it somewhere, but I've seen ghosts. They're fascinating. So far, I haven't been, scared of a ghost or anything.
Yeah.
But the Bigfoot was a little bit. It can, because you're seeing something physical that ain't supposed to be there, right? And not only is it not supposed to be there, it's big. Big. And it's not scared of you.
Yeah.
At all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Just bring some, baby watch or something.
Right. So anyway, that's what I told him because Malvern actually kind of has a negative entity there. And, And we were talking about, like ghosts don't scare me anymore. I've just done it so long.
Yeah,
Even that entity there doesn't scare me because I know, like my God is bigger than it, whatever. So I don't worry about that. However, like that adrenaline rushes back when you're out in the middle of the woods,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's no telling what you're going to see out in the woods. I mean, you might come across a ghost. You might come across a Bigfoot, or you might come across just weird stuff. You might see orbs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just there's no telling what you might see.
Mm-hmm.
No. And if you're a skeptic, I encourage you to kind of get with some other experienced people and go out for yourself and see some things.
Absolutely. Just don't go alone. Always.
Yeah, don't go alone.
No.
Don't go by yourself. That's not a good idea. Especially at the LBL. I mean, there's other things out there that'll get you.
Right.
Hogs. There's lots of hogs there.
Hogs,
They
bears.
scare me more than anything. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So and that's another reason why you don't want to go unarmed. Because hogs are rough. So you need to protect yourself from them.
Right. Absolutely.
Same with the bears.
Yeah. Because you just never know. And, I think bears and hogs, they're quiet when they come up, and then before it, they're there and it's almost too late,
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
Yeah, them hogs will come up on you quick. They'll come up on you quick.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hear them coming, but they're fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we saw some while we were at the LBL, and I saw one of the biggest hogs I've ever seen. I bet that thing was 450, 500 pounds. I mean, it was huge. It was gargantuan. So they're out there.
Yeah.
They're out there.
Yep, absolutely. Wow. We appreciate everybody being in chat tonight. Once again, thank you, War Criminal, Titoe, and Mike Seller. Thank you guys.
But speaking of the premiere is going to be coming out January 4th, 2025. It's going to be a Saturday. You don't have to worry about it interfering with your football games. I did my homework. So it's not going to interfere with any of the football games unless, the Toledo. Well, I don't even think the Toledo Bow was playing. I don't think there's
There you
any.
go. Awesome.
And there's going to be
Just New Year's
limited
Day
number of
and then it's
seatings. It's we're really making it sort of like a mini convention, a mini convention. So you're going to be able to interact with the cast in the film, and if any of the other researchers or whatever want to come, then that's going to be fantastic. So you'll be able to interact with people, and you'll be able to buy some of the books there by the authors. Like I know Adam Davies has got plenty of books, and Trey Hudson's going to have his book there. So, you're going to be able to meet some people that has some diverse interaction with in the paranormal field here. So. It's going to be a great experience. There's going to be a Q&A afterwards, so you can stay for that.
And Brandy and I will definitely be there. We have it on our calendar. We will be there.
Yay. And I'll be there. Yeah.
Well, by golly, I hope you will be. You better be
there. I'll be there.
Paranormal Paul says he'll be there, and I seen War Criminal said he's going. So
yay.
It's just
tickets are going to go on sale probably the first week of August. We've partnered with Brushfire. It's a company that does that's going to sell the tickets for us. And there is going to be limited seating because it's a premiere. It's going to be in a theater, so there is limited seating for you to physically be there.
Cool.
And there's going to be like a tiered tickets. So there's going to be a curious tier, which is just Okay, you just general admission into the film, and you get to go in last. There's a mid tier, which we've labeled as believers, and they get some interaction, and there's some perks in there that we're going to identify later.
Mhm.
And then there's a top tier, which we call our investigators. They'll get to go in first. And
Officer Ogles.
that's
Thank you,
right.
Amy.
That's Amy's and I. That's our joke. Don't forget to hit that like button,
That's
Amy.
awesome.
Hit the like button now. Anyway, so yeah, there's going to be a top tier, which they'll get to go into the theater first, choose their seating. Then the medium tier, they'll go in afterwards, and then the general admission. So there's going to be definite advantages to being a top tier or middle tier. And like I say, there's going to be other perks as well for the medium and top tiers.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And afterwards, we're planning on an after dinner and like an after party where we all can hang out and you can see that we're just regular people, just like everybody else. We just happen to get out into the woods, and woods and haunted places and actually just do stuff.
And we know how to have a good time.
We know how to have a good time. We absolutely do.
Yes.
So
we'll have fun if you come.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be more than just a film. It's going to be a good time, and there's going to be good camaraderie.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I saw that Fisher's fam was also planning on coming too.
And for those who, who can't make it down to Alabama, there's going to be a streaming version. So you'll have to pay a price for that, and it's going to be a little bit less than the.
Thanks, Donnie. Donnie wants to know what tier he is, Greg.
Well, if you pay $19.99, Donnie, you're going to be the curious tier. No, the tickets are $40 for the top tier and $30 for the mid tier, and just the lower tier is going to be $20.
Awesome. So it's reasonably priced. It's it'd be a good getaway weekend for anybody that's interested.
Right. And like I say, it's going to be more of an experience than anything because it's going to be sort of like a mini convention.
Yeah.
So I've pulled together a lot of people, and it's going to be a good fun time. And once the ticketing and the branding and everything is ready, you'll be able to go to one site and pick what you want, whether it be one of the 3 tiers or the online streaming version.
Paranormal Paul asked, will it be black tie and red carpet event?
Well, I will say that we're going to have a marquee poster, and we're going to have a big giant poster where you can take pictures with some of your favorite cast member. And it's going to be, just a huge poster of the event. And it's going to be more like a Hollywood premiere than not.
We're just going to have indoor. We're going to have indoor-outdoor carpet.
Yeah. So is jeans okay to wear, or?
Yeah, jeans will be fine.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
That's what I said. Indoor-outdoor carpet. It's all good.
That's right. Indoor, outdoor.
Pancho Zorge says tennis shoe and tuxedo ball.
That's right.
Yeah. Regardless, it'll be a fun time. It'll be.
It's going to be a blast. We know how to have a good time, and it's. I'm just really proud of the film. I think you're going to like the film. And to see it on a big screen, a theater is going to be something else. So I do know the theater is excited. They're very excited, and they're going to play a big hand in the premiere too. So I am fully thankful for AMC Theaters and Coleman, and just blessed that I'm going to be in an environment where this is going to be welcomed. Just some guys from nowhere in Alabama who just put some stuff together on a film, and it just happens to be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those, it is in Anniston, Alabama, is where it is going to be.
Coleman, Alabama.
Coleman, is that by Anniston? No. Okay.
No. It's south of Huntsville for sure.
Yes, it's directly south of Huntsville, right on Interstate 65. It's about 45 minutes south of
40
Huntsville.
miles?
45 minutes.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Donnie Cho, thank you very much again. And he says, question for Greg, at the premiere, will there be an open bar? Also, can I come?
You can come. I don't know about an open bar at the theater. I don't know about the rules on that.
That'll probably have to be after.
Yeah, that's at the after party.
Yeah, but you can wave your Bigfoot flag and have some popcorn.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's one of the things, with the top tier, you get, popcorn and drink comes with it.
Well, you know what? I got to tell you. So if popcorn and drink comes with the top tier, that's almost in itself, because I just went to the movies like a month ago and I took my girls and I bought 3 sodas and a large popcorn for us to share. And it was $60. I kid you not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a very good deal.
Yes, it is. Just because like I said, I just went to the movies and I paid more for popcorn.
Right. So if you're planning on buying the mid tier, you might as well go ahead and get, and you're planning on getting popcorn and drink, whatever, you might as well go ahead and get that top tier one.
Right.
But I will say, when they go on sale, you get them quick, because the theater's only going to hold a total of 160.
Wow.
So there's limited seating. Yeah, but that's pretty much for any theater.
Right.
It's par for any theater.
Right.
Can you give anybody a little hint of who they might be able to meet if they come to the premiere?
Oh, absolutely. So Martin Groves should be there, I hope. Of course, you lovely ladies are going to be there. I'm going to be there. Brand will be there. Trey Hudson will be there. Trey Hudson, the author. Kristen Payton will be there. Daryl Neese will be there. Mark, God, his last name is leaving me. Jonestown Farms. Hi, Mark. I'm so sorry. I forgot your last name. He'll be there. But Mark is a fantastic guy. He's got a great scene in the film, and he tells a great, I say a great story. It's more of an eerie story. But anyway.
Right.
So Mark will be there, him and his wife, Becca. Green.
Okay.
Anyway. Adam Davies is going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, with his Australian accent.
Wow.
That's my joke.
Wow.
You see, once we left the LBL, on our journey home, we stopped by a restaurant. We were sitting there eating, and the lady was having a hard time understanding Adam, and vice versa, because she had a really thick Southern accent, and they was having a hard time understanding each other. And anyway, long story short, I said, you have to forgive Adam. He's from Australia.
From Australia. That's hilarious.
Oh my God, he just almost killed me.
Yeah, that's funny. That's too funny. He Adam, I tell you what, y'all come to Alabama and see this, because if you haven't met Adam Davies, you don't know what you're missing.
You're missing a hoot. There's no telling what's coming out that boy's mouth.
Yeah.
He is an absolute hoot. He's a gentleman, though.
Yes.
And he's a really good researcher. And you're going to see in that film his actual training from his past. He's been all around the world doing all sorts of things, but a lot of that when he was going all around the world was in the military, in the British military. So, you'll see his military training kick in during this film. So, I was really glad Adam was there.
Yeah.
He really took an upstanding role, and well, you'll see. You'll see.
Yeah, because we talked about this back in, I guess we started talking about it in June, but then we went to the Dogman conference, and it was there that I remember you talked to Adam about coming and being a part of it. So that was, yeah.
Oh yeah, and a flash for the new films. Adam will be joining us again on some of the future films.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
Somebody asked, what's the capacity of what's the capacity of the theater again?
Well, I'm really going to gauge the interest. There's the theater that I have rented right now. The capacity of it's about 184, I think. Now I'm not going to sell that many tickets because I have to give away a lot of tickets. However, if there's more people that's really, really wanting to go and tickets sell out fast, then I'll rent a much larger one that holds about 280.
Wow.
Okay.
At the same location or just?
Yeah, same location. It's just, there's just a big price difference between the one that I'm renting and their biggest one there. They do have a really, really big one that I can rent.
Very cool. Very cool.
So it's it all depends on the demand. If the demand is high enough, we will change, and we'll make a change, and we'll get the bigger one.
And I just feel like that you're going to probably need the bigger one.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to pick one by October. So
Yeah.
I've got some time. That's why I want to.
And you'll know how ticket sales. We've done it. We've done several conferences and stuff. And a lot of people, they buy tickets right out the door, and then it flatlines until like a week or two before, and then it's like, whoa,
Yeah, but by then it'll be too late.
Yeah, and
so that's why I say try to get them early.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and if they sell out really, really fast and you're still wanting to get in, email me and so that we can gauge how many more want to come, and if it's justified, we'll get a bigger theater.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think that I think your tickets are going to go. There's a lot of interest in it.
Oh, it's it's going to be a good film, and it's going to be a good time.
Yes.
Just the one unique thing I keep saying over and over about all of our films is that everything that you're going to see is real.
Yes,
absolutely. It's all real.
It's all the truth.
Yes.
Brandy and I know Greg. We've went ghost hunting with him. We've went, to the LBL with him, and I can assure you, like, it is the real stuff. He is legit. There's nothing faked or planned. Nothing like the normal TV shows that you see.
No, we're
Bigfoot in your ghost or anything like that. Not at all.
Right.
The most important thing, though, is what I love about what you do, is that if it happens, it happens. If it don't, well, it just don't. You don't.
Right.
You're just like, well, nothing happened.
Yeah.
And we've got some of that in there. We've got some experiments that we do, and well, you'll see what happens with it. We've got some where we go out, things happen. We've got some where you go out and then it's not so much.
Yeah.
But we actually show the truth. We show what's really going on.
Right. And there's a lot going on.
Thank you, Wars. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's a good guy too.
Very good guy.
Yeah. We, goes back to the first time I met you, and I got to tell the story again. We were at the very first Alabama Bigfoot conference, and the night before, we had investigated, Brandy and I had investigated that building, the Crest.
Mhm.
And that next day I was in the restroom and the stalls moved and I come out and you were coming out of the men's. I'm like, hey, you come here. And I drug you in there. Do you remember that?
Mhm. Oh, I definitely do. I was like, hey, what's going on? What are we doing in here?
Crazy lady. I was like, come here.
Well, and then his first paranormal experience.
Hmm. Yeah, I saw a shadow figure while we were there.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
With
Brandy
me
and
here.
I were down in the
Yeah.
basement, and she was shining this light around, and she was putting it over there toward the left, and I saw this figure just duck behind a box, and I grabbed her hand. I was like, moving it back and forth, right? And I was like, dang it, I can't get it to reproduce what I just saw, and there was no other explanation other than it was a shadow figure, and I had seen my first shadow figure over at the meadow just several weeks prior to that. And until then, I didn't really necessarily believe in shadow figures because I hadn't seen them. And the first time I saw one, this thing was running across the meadow. I say running; it was just the upper half. I didn't see a lower half to it. It went across the field there at the meadow over to another group that was on a trail in the woods there. And I was like, I wonder if it's going to go over there and kind of spy on them people. And there was this lady that was in that other group, and she got so freaked out by this feeling that you're being watched that they had to move because she was so freaked out. And then lo and behold, as they were walking, you could see them. They had their light on. This little orb was tailing them right behind them, and it got to a certain spot, and then the orb just stopped, and just they went on, and then the orb just dissipated.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I'd ever seen a shadow person, and then we were doing this Estes method while we're there, and I don't know if I should say this or not because it's in the film. Anyway, I'll go ahead and say it, but you'll have to see it. Somebody saw a shadow person try to enter me, try to like physically go into me like several times while I'm doing this
Oh,
Estes
wow.
method. And I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know it until much, much later. But
Could you feel it? What were you feeling?
well, I honestly I don't remember a whole lot about that because it was so freaky and it was really disturbing to me. But I do remember having a lot of these negative visions, these apocalyptic visions, seeing that things like these buildings and stuff that were destroyed, a red sky, and looking on the ground with these babies just mutilated, and it was just extremely apocalyptic and just weird, awful stuff. I remember that much about it. Now, my answers to the questions that were asked, I don't remember at all.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember any of that.
So you were jumped. You were definitely jumped.
What's that?
Like where it sounds like to me, like it jumped you, the entity, it was in you.
Oh, well, maybe so. I don't know.
I mean, if you don't,
but I do know.
You have classic signs of not remembering. Because when I've done Estes method, I've always remembered what I said. I don't hear the questions because you don't hear the questions, but I always remember what I said.
Yeah, I don't remember what I said at all. However, I will say this, that I was told that I was perfectly answering what was asked to me.
Right.
And it got so disturbing they had to stop the Estes method early.
Wow.
And Trey is the one that was conducting it, and he said it was the most intense Estes method he has ever seen.
Wow. Do you think it's because you're open to it, or do you think that you?
It may be. It may be. Because when I first started doing the booger, I had an open mind, but I didn't necessarily believe I was open to things. And then eventually I started seeing these, and it started with the orbs. I started seeing these lights out in the woods, right? And I was like, well, what the hell is that? And I didn't know what that was because I had never heard of them. I'd never seen them. I didn't know what it was. And I just kept on and on and on, pursuing this documentary. And the more I got out into the woods, and the more I started to open myself up to the
Mhm.
possibilities of things that's happening, the more clear these orbs became to me. You could. They went from like very faded to like the brightest things I have ever seen.
Yeah.
You know. Thank
Wow.
you, Rich. I appreciate that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, but watch this next one. It's going to blow that one
Well,
away.
that's what I'm saying, like, because your first one was phenomenal.
Hmm.
And, I can only imagine how this one's going to be. Like I said, like, and I'm not kidding when I tell people, like, seriously, certain TV shows film 15 years and don't capture what Greg captured at the.
Right. And this one weekend, it was absolutely off the chain.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that we got footage of it all. The footage didn't get corrupted.
Yeah.
I was so worried about that because it happens so often with
Right.
the footage getting corrupted. And I can't tell you how ecstatic I was about that, you know,
Yeah.
um, because all too often, you'll carry cameras out. Like when we made the booger, we went out to the top of this hill and we had 4 cameras on us, and 3 out of the 4 completely died, and they were useless. And the other one of the 4 would go on and off and on and off, and it wouldn't catch but maybe 2 seconds of footage. I think the only footage we got from that was Brent looking at like into the camera like, "Ugh." He was like looking at the camera just like that. So that's the only footage we got from that. And then we descended from that hill,
Mhm.
and when we got down to the bottom of the hill, all of our cameras just magically powered right back up, just boom, 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 and we were able to start rolling again. And
Mhm.
that's when these horses were down there. And there was one horse that just went berserk. Now, none of that was staged. That was just all by
And I can
happenstance.
attest. I'm a horse owner. I've had horses my
Yeah.
whole life. And I watched that in that film, and that was legit. Like, you
Hmm.
cannot make a horse fake the way its
Right.
ears move, the way you can't do that. I'm sorry, you can't.
Yeah.
And that's legit. That horse saw something,
It did. It
or it felt,
absolutely
maybe
did.
not saw it, but felt it. Like, I
Yeah.
think, like, animals feel
Hmm.
the energy,
Hmm.
and it
And it didn't want to
saw something.
proceed, and it got so erratic. The lady actually had to exit off the horse and physically tow it
Yeah,
down the trail. Now we didn't put that in the film because you could see her face and things like
sure.
that. But like I said, none of that was staged. That was just what
Yeah,
it happened.
yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So
That
it's
horse
things
was
like
there.
that. Yeah, it's things like that started to build my confidence that all of these stories that you hear and everything that I had read, like from the older encounters,
Mhm.
particularly with the horses, there was something to it, you
Yeah,
know. Because in the Legend of the Downy Booger, part of that was horse involved, and the horses, they acted adversely to seeing the tall, hairy, bald man, and that really kind of brought that home to me when I saw that horse act like it did. I was like, "Oh crap," you know. So from then on, I started to just gain um, confidence that what these stories were, they had some truth to them.
Mhm.
And as the more I started to go out and investigate myself, the more I was able to see, And one of the things that just freaked me out is when I heard, "Hey, Janice," in my voice, but I didn't say it.
Yeah, that's pretty freaky.
Yeah. And that happened twice at this one place, and it happened again in North Georgia. This guy, Paul Halsey, uh, Monica Rawlings was there. She
Mhm.
also heard this,
Wow.
and there was some other witnesses who heard this voice say, "Hey, Paul," in my voice.
Wow. Wow.
But I was nowhere near there. I was off with another group way far away.
Mhm.
And Paul thought I was playing tricks on him, and I
Mhm.
was like, dude, I was really far away.
Yeah. That's
So
crazy.
that's kind of freaky. That is kind of freaky.
Well, and you also had, I know, during your first film, didn't you have missing time, you and Janice? And
We did. That's not in the film because we didn't
right,
put it in the film.
yeah,
Because it's something that's one of those things that you couldn't really quantify,
right, right.
and it's a story that we sat and talked about, like, um, if we just sat and talked about this without having any kind of proof whatsoever about it, nobody would believe it. It's just, some kind of fantasy thing. And we wanted to be credible, as credible as we could be. So we limited the amount of information that actually went into the filming of the Downing Booger. So we actually did leave off some weird things that didn't make it, into the film because we were so worried about credibility. All you have in this industry is your credibility and your
Agreed.
integrity. So
That's
we
right.
wanted to make sure that we were credible,
Mhm.
and we did not consult anybody during the making of the Downing Booger as far as forming our opinion. We
Mhm.
wanted to form our own opinions because I'll be very honest about where I started out. I thought if Bigfoot existed, it was just nothing but a flesh and blood ape
Mhm.
running around in the woods that was very good at hiding.
Hmm.
Yeah.
However, as we started to move along, me being in my profession, I go with evidence, and the evidence has led me to believe that there's something more to them than just being an ape. I don't think they're a
Agreed.
dumb ape at all. I think they're a type of being, type of human. They're very sentient. They have a language. They're extremely smart. I think they're as smart as we are. Anyway, so I think there's more. They're more metaphysical than anything, because when you're following a trackway out in a field, and all of a sudden the prints stop. Okay, well, what happens to them? I'm
Right.
sorry, they don't turn around and walk backwards. I
Mhm.
think that's just silly. There's not a tree for them to jump up into because they're out in the middle of a field.
Mhm.
Um, so what happens to them? Um, you know,
Yeah. What does? I mean,
yeah, what happens to them?
yeah. There's
Um, we've heard. We've been paralleled lots and lots of times, and come across to a place where you're like, okay, it's paralleling us, and I should be able to see it now. And you turn and look, and you don't see anything.
Mhm.
You know,
Right.
and it's not an armadillo. You can tell when it's something is bipedal out in the woods. So, do they have the ability to make themselves invisible or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So these things actually started to come across my mind. Do they have these extra abilities that we don't?
Yeah.
And
I
that's
think they
something
do.
too that I wanted to pose in the first film, but not come out and actually say, because then truly I didn't know at that point. It wasn't until much later, because we do go out and investigate without filming a lot, quite
Mhm.
often, actually.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. Yeah. We do too. Just this past weekend, we were at Malvern Manor, and I shot a couple videos, but I honestly totally forgot about going live.
Mhm.
You just get so into what you're doing, and
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, the evidence has shown me that there's something more to them than just big dumb ape in the woods.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot more to them, I believe.
Oh, a whole lot more. A whole lot more.
Yeah,
Um, you,
yeah,
you know, and there's more to the world than just Bigfoot.
absolutely.
At first I was skeptical of Dogman. I'm like, Dogman, what the hell?
What are people
Um,
smoking? That was my thoughts. Like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. I was like, dang, what are you smoking?
yeah.
You know.
And now, yeah, I'm a
However,
full-fledged believer.
Yeah.
yeah. However, and now I will say, when I was a kid, I saw these three-toed footprints. It was a cold, snowy day,
Hmm.
and it was still snowing, and my brother and I were uh, on this road, actually next door to where I live now. And we came across these footprints that came out of the woods and went
Mhm.
over to my cousin's window and then back out into the woods. And they had 3 toes. And they're kind of strange looking footprints. It was only about maybe 12, 14 inches, something like that. It wasn't like gigantic, but they were
Yeah.
pretty good size. But they all had these like 3 distinct toes. And not until Tex Wesson had showed me pictures of some footprints
Hmm.
did I say, hey, that's exactly what I saw.
Wow. That's pretty incredible stuff, man. It really is. And it sounds like, throughout most of your life, you've had some kind of weirdness.
Hmm. Yes, I've had a UFO experience
Mhm.
also when I was a child.
Yeah.
And then things were kind of bleak for up until not long ago when we started making the Downy Booger.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, crazy stuff.
Hmm.
We are at the hour and a half mark.
Oh
Wow.
wow,
This
how
went
time
fast.
flies.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, or don't know what you're doing. Either one of the two.
Yeah. Yeah. A little of both.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
I want to,
But one thing I wanted to say though, Greg, is that we really need to make what says actually finding Bigfoot and other creatures. Just a new name for a documentary. I'm just saying.
Bigfoot and other creatures. I likes it.
Isn't there?
Bigfoot and other stuff.
Bigfoot and other stuff. There you go.
Mhm. Bigfoot and other stuff.
Real quick, I want to thank War Criminal, Titoe. Let's go down
Oh,
the
she's
line
so
here.
pretty.
Mike Seller. Yes, she is.
I hear you, Mike.
Amy Creel. Thank you.
How about hitting that like button, Amy?
Creel
Amy.
again. Thank you. Maggie M10. Thank you. Donnie Cho. Thank
Donnie
you.
Cho.
Donnie Cho again. Thank you.
Donnie.
Yeah, you guys are all awesome. We appreciate each and every one of you. We appreciate each and every one of you being in our chat, and people who don't even chat. We appreciate you guys watching. That all of that just definitely we're very humbled by everybody that shows us their support.
Yeah, and when you come out to the premiere, don't be afraid to come up and say hi to us. We're
Right.
just regular people. We
We are.
want to interact with you. We
Yeah.
really, really do. We want to interact with you. We want to show you that we're real people and that we're real. We're not Hollywood
Nope.
doing fake things. Okay, we're real people, and we want you to get to know us.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to get to know you.
Exactly.
Yep. So tomorrow night, guys, we have we're going to talk about our investigation at Malvern Manor, some of the evidence, and Brandy, she was a target Saturday night. So that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow night. So appreciate everybody once again tuning in. And until tomorrow night, also Saturday night, Paranormal Paul and myself, we will be at the Ray County Museum doing a live show from there. So, and in August, Greg Ogles is going to be joining me at the Ray County Museum, and we may just go live there too. All right. Good night, everybody. See everybody tomorrow.
Good night.
Oh, one more thing. Sorry, my bad. Tune in to Monica Rollins' show, Our Paranormal World. She comes on at 10 p.m. in about 30 or 25 minutes. Good night now.
Good night, everybody.